the appraiser I was with, she grabs her gun. This guy's, basically calling us everything in the book. We call the police. They show up. This guy's irate, going crazy.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
Hey, welcome everybody. Dustin Harris hanging out with you in the podcast chair. Got another guest can't wait to introduce you to, but first want to remind you we are sponsored by Working RE magazine. Working RE, of course, is the place that I go to find out my news about the appraisal profession. You can check them out right now. Go to workingre.com. Once again, it's workingre.com. Folks, how would you like to save 60 minutes per report? That's right, 60 minutes per report by using DataMaster. You can check them out and find out just how much time you can save. Find out if it's real. You will find out that it's real by going to datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. Once again, I'll give you that address. It's datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. And finally, we are sponsored by Alamode Software. Alamode, of course, is the leader in the appraisal industry. You should be using Alamode Software because it will allow you to do more with less. Go to alamode.com or 800-ALAMODE. Well, folks, we love these appraiser stories. Had a few people volunteer. I jumped on my Facebook group here a while back and said, hey, who's willing to jump on board? And had several volunteers, and glad we were able to put it together. Today, I'm joined by a Mastermind student of mine, a Dream Team Mastermind student of mine. He meets with us in the Dallas group, and a good friend of mine, Mr. Jim Hendren. Jim, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it. You've taken time out of your busy schedule to join us and to tell your story, and can't wait to learn a little bit more about you. So let's start there. Talk to us about you, about your background, where you come from, and what brings you to the appraisal profession.
Good. Well, I'm out of Oklahoma City area, surrounding area. I live in Piedmont, which is a suburb of Oklahoma City. A little bit about my background. I was a teacher coach for about 12 years, taught mathematics and physics. And then through chances, through rental properties, ended up in the appraisal field and have been involved in the appraisal field since 2001 in various degrees, from owning my own company, working with somebody else, and then also working for a company and doing forensic reviews for Fannie Mae and some of the buyback.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. You and I have talked about that, but I know some of the listeners probably aren't real familiar with what that means. Do you mind just delving into that a little bit? Because I know that's a big part of your upbringing, if you will, as an appraiser.
Well, for about 2.5 years in there, I worked for a company that contracted directly with Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae came down and trained us, went through the process of how they would like appraisals looked at, reviewed what they look at. This was back during the buyback time after the collapse. I guess it was 2000, and I was actually doing the work around 2011 to 2013, which was kind of give us a whole insight. We were looking at stuff from all over the United States. Basically, what we would do is get a high-risk appraisals that came in. We would go through their step-to-step process, how they looked at things, and then we would do write-ups based on USPAP and various other things, whether it was cleared or not cleared. And for the most part, these were large sum loans that were of appraisals package that they would send back to major banks to say, hey, you're going to need to buy back this. So the process was quite interesting, but in that time, the nice thing is I got to meet various other appraisers in this area who were still together, but I also got to see a lot of things at Fannie Mae and how they would like things written up and red flags, you might say.
Yeah. I bet it was quite an education, right?
It's amazing how much myself and all of us started designing our appraisals to try to meet some of the things that were out there to hopefully keep us out of hot water
right.
in the future,
right.
But also meet some of the Fannie Mae guidelines that we probably never knew because we were part of the dinosaurs.
Right. So let's lead in now to where you find yourself now, as far as tell us a little bit about your setup, because I know you've got a little bit of a unique setup that I hope you'll be willing to share with the listeners there in the sense of your physical location.
Yeah, we do have a very unique setup. And currently in my office, there's 4 certified independent appraisers. None of us work for each other, but we're all actually in the same office, kind of complex. Our office section is divided up into 6 offices. We just walk right across the lobby opening area so that we can talk to it. It's kind of a unique, like you said, that we actually communicate on a daily basis. Currently, right now, right next door, there's another certified appraiser in there, and we've already communicated about appraisal questions. Therefore, something along that line that makes us different, because it seems like so often we run into appraisers that are isolated.
Oh, sure.
We also have a large network that we meet on a fairly regular basis sometimes, not always for appraisal wise, but just like, hey, let's go have lunch, let's go, dinner, sometimes breakfast. But I'm unique in the fact that I can get on the phone if there's nobody in the office and go, hey, I need some help with this, either wording, clarification, something to knock me off the fence and go, yeah, you can do this, or no, you shouldn't do this. That makes my situation very, very unique, very easy to work with. The other thing that's very helpful is everybody is at a different level technology-wise. So if somebody comes in and discovers something, everybody's open, go, hey, you might want to try this. And gradually we're getting a lot more people on board about communication that weren't involved with us back in the days of when we were all together, and different ones coming in and, hey, we'd like to, chit chat, talk about stuff.
Right. Very cool. I'm glad you shared that because it's unique. Appraisers are very lonely. They spend a lot of time in their appraisal cave. Most of them don't even have assistants, much less other appraisers that they can, bounce things off of. There are some out there that do, they hire other appraisers. They work as partners, if you will. But man, I think it's so unique that you actually work in an office with other appraisers that are not part of your business. I want to emphasize that. These are not appraisers that they have their own entity. They have their own business names, but man, so you're telling me that appraisers can actually get along, Jim?
It's kind of used because I think so often we think we're competing, but it's kind of reality. What's the reality of it? So often we find out where a lot of us are on the same banks or same, lists, but we've kind of found out if we're all doing something similar, we're all trying to be better appraisers. It helps us all along, so that, I believe clients, and I also believe people in deal out in the field that people's houses we're looking at, we see a little more consistency if we're all doing similar things.
Right. Well, tell me a little bit, talk about similar. I mean, you're working in similar neighborhoods, obviously, but keep in mind that this podcast is going out to appraisers across the nation. Tell us a little bit about Oklahoma City, where the area that you work in. What makes it stand out as being kind of a unique area to you?
Oh, probably from after I get back from listening to some of our mastermind groups, and we have people there from Chicago and other areas, how they're, it's a few miles is more or less takes, a lot of minutes. The unique thing about Oklahoma City, I believe we're the second largest landmass city in the United States. So I may cover a large distance, but time-wise may not be anything like crowd in the city. I typically do basically 4 counties around this area, pretty much everything within a 45 minutes to an hour basis. But the difference is we can go 1 mile in 1 minute, unlike, a lot of your urban places where, just to go a mile takes a half a day.
Yeah. You've been doing this a long time, my friend. Tell us a little bit about maybe a scary or disturbing story that you might have run into in your tenure.
Scariest probably story that I've ever had. I was with another appraiser, but it's kind of unique, I guess, again, that we were actually asked to go do quite a few rental properties. The guy was packaging. I think we were doing 10. We were looking at 10 in one day. Basically, what happens, we show up at the guy's office. He tells us he's contacted everybody. Here's the keys. Go do your, go head out. Well, we end up getting to a property. Get there, knock on the door, no answer. Go ahead and go outside, measure the outside, come back, knock on the door again. Nobody's there. So I head on in the house with a key, and there's a dog in there on the floor, basically dog mess on the floor, not much going on. Head down, actually chatting with the other appraiser, get down, open the room, open a door up, and there's 3 kids in there, various ages, just crashed on the floor. It's like a 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, we need to go. End up going back down the hall, looked in, a door that was partially open, and there's a couple in there crashed out in the. So we head on out the door. We're pulling out. Well, these people from the inside of the house come back out. One of them, and they were like, "What are you guys doing?" We just we were contacted to do the appraisals. That we were basically getting out of there, and they were really mad. And so we said, "Okay, well, we're going on. Call the landlord." We call the landlord. Landlords, I'll take care of it. About an hour later, we're off doing the other properties. He calls back and said, "Hey, got it all taken care of, all good to go. Go back there. You can finish it." So we head back there. We pull into the driveway, which I learned not to do. And then next thing I know, about 10 seconds later, somebody comes up, pulls right behind us. They get out and they're just cussing up a storm. They're like, "What are you doing here?" So finally, we're in the car. Luckily, we're in a concealed carry or open carry state. So the appraiser I was with, she grabs her gun. This guy's, basically calling us every name in the book. We call the police. They show up. This guy's irate, going crazy. Come to find out, there was some stuff that was probably not on the up and up that was taking place in the house.
You think?
And the landlord had talked
Shocker.
to wasn't currently there. So it ended up being that was probably one of the most scary because we're pinned in the driveway. So I think from that time on, I no longer go to occupied rent houses without the landlord or property manager, and I'm not pulling anybody's driveway.
Yeah.
So,
Boy, those situations can be quite disturbing. And I think it says something about us as appraisers. First of all, our fortitude. I think there is something to be said about somebody who's willing to own their own business and the type of person that they are. But man, we can get in some difficult, challenging situations. Tell us about maybe a funny encounter or two that you've experienced.
I'm trying to think of probably my one of my funniest ones. I had been out years ago, took a photo of this house, manufactured home. The thing set on 5 acres, at the back 5 acres, actually back when I was using a camera, and it flashed. Next thing you know, I have somebody following me. So this lady follows me. I don't know what's going on. We're on some country roads. Next thing you know, she pulls around me and basically seals my car in, gets out. She's not 5'3", 100 pounds soaking wet. She's like mad. I wasn't scared at all. She's trying to figure out why I took a photo of her house. And then she starts going, I tell her I'm an appraiser, give her my card, tell her house was, recently sold. And matter of fact, it recently sold within a month, I believe. So it was really new. Well, she starts going off and telling me how scared she is because somebody's taking photos. And I'm like, ma'am, if you're so scared, why do you pull me over and you jump out of your vehicle?
No kidding.
She's like, well, I'm so scared. I just had to find out why somebody was taking photos of my house. And so that was quite a humorous one, kind of one when I stepped back, that somebody like that would be scared enough to go track somebody down.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I think the other funny one we were out doing another inspection. I was with it. I was actually doing a lawsuit case. And so there was 3 appraisers on site. And there was myself, and then I actually had a trainee with me. And another appraiser was for the other lawsuit. We're all looking at these houses. We're in a rough neighborhood. Backyard's got grass growing up, trees. Next thing you know, we're back measuring the house, and somebody says, "Stop." We turn around, and this big mammoth pit bull pops up.
Oh, no.
And you see his head. But the funny thing about my trainee was packing. She had a gun, so we jumped behind her. Our 2 guys went up behind her, hoping. I'm like, and this big old pit bull came running. Next thing you know, he's like running. He just runs right on by us, heads down beside the house. He was just as scared as we were. And we go out, we're digging the front of the house, and he's laying in the neighbor's yard, just happy as be. We scared him, but I'm sitting there looking back. That was quite humorous, the fact that we're jumping behind this lady, trainee of mine.
Hey, you know what they say? Colt is the ultimate equalizer, right?
Well, she didn't even have it out. She just had her hand in the purse going, "Oh, we might have been in trouble either way." But
that's hilarious. That's awesome. Jim, where do you see the profession as a whole going in the next few years? And where do you see yourself and your own appraisal firm going in that same time?
Probably direction at least I see, which we've talked about. And I think we're going to gradually drift away from the appraisal, the full length appraisals we're doing now. And because it seems like clients are wanting it faster. Freddie Mac's come out with, try to supposedly speed up the process. We don't have to go take comp photos and various things. And I'm thinking we're probably going to be doing more of the desktop appraisals, more streamlined is where I'm anticipating. So technology is going to play a bigger part. The days of sticking our finger up in the wind and going, I think this is worth, $3,000
right.
for a
we
bath.
never come on. We never do that.
I just I definitely haven't been that place in the last few years, but prior to that, I think we had a lot of set stuff. And
Sure.
so my business going, I ultimately, I was even discussing it today with my assistant. I was like, we're trying to get to that process we've talked about even in some of our, mastermind groups of getting to processes. And we were discussing something today and I'm like, okay, now how can we write a process so that we don't have to be here all the time to do it? So as far as we're trying to move to the place where I can allow other people to do the appraiser things, I guess.
Sure. Tier 1, tier 2 stuff. Yeah.
Start running more of the business.
Right. Very cool. Well, just speaking to you in the masterminds, I know that you're a man that's forward thinking. You're a visionary type. You see the writing on the wall and you respond to that. And I think that truly is the key to success moving forward. Speaking of success, I want to get there, but I first want to maybe talk about what do you look back on either your business or your life and see as maybe your biggest failure?
Wow. Biggest failure. My biggest failure was probably prior to the collapse, during the collapse in there, and just feeling that the only thing about appraising was you just wait for your orders to come in. So you wait for your clients to send you the orders. Well, there in turn, our business tapered off so ridiculously bad. I didn't have my eyes open to other options, other ways of marketing, other setups. So I would say that's probably was my biggest failure.
Okay. And then lead that into your biggest success now. My
biggest success, I would definitely say may not be so is obviously is looking at, doing other things, but the mastermind group is one thing that's more of a specific, but basically having a network. I have an unbelievable network. I have different ones because of our association. I can call up, hey, this thing is next to a commercial property. I'll call a certified general, see what he thinks. And so I think my biggest success is basically the friends that I have, not only nationally, but mainly even locally to go, hey, I'm not really sure, how do we want to handle this? For some reason, I guess we don't feel the competition pressure that a lot of people in other areas do. So I count that as a major success because it helps my business.
Right. It's not who you are, but it's who you surround yourself with. Folks, we're talking with Jim Hendren out of Oklahoma City today. He's been willing and able to join us for Appraiser Stories. We'll get back to Jim in just a minute or two. First, want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by Working RE magazine. Jim's talked a little bit about, talking to other appraisers and finding out what's going on in the industry moving forward. A lot of us don't have that opportunity. We haven't made that opportunity for ourselves yet as appraisers. There are other ways to get the information that you need to find out where the profession is going and how you as an appraiser will respond to it. I can tell you what my go-to place for that type of information is Working RE magazine. One of the great things about Working RE is, I'll remember once in a while to log on to workingre.com, but the great thing is to sign up for their email blast that comes out pretty much on a weekly basis. They send out news and articles that help me to keep in touch with the appraisal profession. You should check out workingre.com and jump on their email list. Again, it's workingre.com for more information about your profession and how you can move forward in that profession. One more time, workingre.com. Folks, we are sponsored, of course, by DataMaster. DataMaster is the company that claims that they can save you 30 to 60 minutes per report. I can testify that they do. I've averaged it at about 45 minutes. Remember, they're going to download your subject information right into your report, your MC sheet, fill out the top of the grid, the 6 places above the grid, the high, low, both of the list and the sale, as well as import all of your listings and your sales right into your report. If you've not tried DataMaster, you need to check them out. I would go to datamasterfreetrial.com/coach and then check out to find out if they are in your area. If they are, if they have that agreement with your local MLS, check them out for 14 days free. It's datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. I'm going to give it to you one more time slower. datamasterfreetrial.com/coach. And a website that's much easier to write down and remember is alamode.com. Folks, go to alamode.com. If you are using any of the other appraisal software programs out there, you can benefit by switching over to Alamode. I get people often coming to me and saying, Dustin, I want to switch to Alamode, but I just don't want to go through the process. It's going to be a hassle. And what is your advice? And folks, I'll just be honest with you. I always tell them the same thing, and that is, it's not going to be easy. When you're used to a certain software and you want to switch to something else, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be difficult, but it probably is not going to be as hard as you think it is. It will go quickly if you are somebody who understands computers and understands software. Alamode is very, very easy to learn. It's the mindset. We are our own worst enemies that will probably be the biggest challenge to you. But I can tell you within just a couple of days, honestly, just a couple of days, you will start to see why Alamode is such a benefit to appraisers and why they lead the industry. I have never, ever coached anybody who has switched from their software to Alamode who has then come back and said, Dustin, that was a big mistake. Now, I've coached people that have got into it a day or two and said, I don't know if I can make it through this. This is so difficult, so hard, much more challenging than I thought it would be. But then within just a day or two more, they are very, very glad that they switched over. And definitely within weeks and months of doing it, none of them go back. Folks, check it out. Go to alamode.com or pick up the phone. The great thing about Alamode is they got people on the phone all the time that can tell you a little bit more about any question that you have about the software. So if you're thinking of switching over, pick up the phone, call 800-ALAMODE, get all of your questions answered, and then make the switch. You will not regret it. And welcome back, everybody. Another Appraiser Stories for you. We're talking with Mr. Jim Hendren out of Oklahoma City. Welcome back to the program, Jim.
Thank you.
Jim is a member of my Dallas Mastermind. I've got to know him over the last several months, and very, very grateful to have that friendship with him, and thankful that he's taken the time to be on here. Jim, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure you've got some expert advice for those out there who may not be as experienced, we'll say, as you are. What's your helpful tip for appraisers that are listening today?
Network. Find a friend. Get out of the cave and at least find somebody you can bounce things off of so that you're not always being cultivated by banks and AMCs about the way you should write appraisals. I love it. And of course, we talked about that in the beginning, that how you have an opportunity to network even within your own office situation physically. But, I would just, if you don't mind, I'm just going to piggyback on that comment and say, find a mentor, find a coach. I've had a mentor for, going on almost 10 years now, a little over 8 years, I guess, an individual that I have lunch with on a regular basis. He's now moved out of the area, unfortunately, but we still have virtual lunch is what we call it, where I pick up the phone, he picks up the phone, we get a little food in front of us and still have our nice chats. That's the great thing about technology. You can find a coach and a mentor really anywhere in the world. He is not an appraiser. He is a business owner, but the opportunity to bounce ideas off of him has been absolutely gold. It just, cannot be replaced. So Jim, thanks for sharing that. All right. So lightning round, my friend, you ready? All right, let's go. All right, here we go. Inside out or outside in? Outside in. Tape, roller, or laser? Laser. He says with emphasis. Tablet, computer, or clipboard and pen? I guess I use my phone now. Oh, there you go. That's a computer. Appraisal software. Alamode. Favorite thing to do when you're not appraising? Besides chasing kids around and affording bed, I would say play golf. Oh, lovely. Okay. What speed do you listen to the Appraiser Coach podcasts on? And I am a 1. I need to figure out how I can't get it up. What's so funny is I get that comment or I get that answer more often than you would think. It's like, you can do different speeds. How do you do that? When your one goal for the year, Jim? My main goal is to set up processes and procedures that's my goal before the end of the year, so that my business will be becoming more automated without me.
Very good. And I'll just ask you one other quick question. This was not part of the pre-plan, but if you don't say anything nice here, I can edit this out. But just curious as to what your experience has been so far. You're fairly new to the Dream Team, the Mastermind group. Tell me your initial gut reaction.
Wow. It's kind of going to sound weird, but I would say good and bad. And I mean bad because I realize so many things I'm not doing. And I'm sitting around the table with some of these people. I'm like, man, how are they doing so many different things? How is their business running so smooth? So I think bad because I've been doing it the old way, the most common way. So it kind of hits me like, why does it take me so long? So, but great in the fact of there's so many different ideas, some that I can incorporate, some that I can't, some that I want to incorporate.
Very
that
good.
would be. So when I say good and bad, the bad's not a reflection of I don't like it. It's just I feel like I'm like a dinosaur in so many ways.
Well, it's been good having you there in the Mastermind group, and it's been good having you today. Thank you for sharing your story, my friend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Dustin.
That was Jim Hendren. He is out of Oklahoma City. And folks, if you have been tempted to be a part of the Appraiser Stories podcast, please reach out to me, the coach, at theappraisercoach.com. And of course, we've talked a little bit about the Dream Team Mastermind. We do have a few seats open. If you're interested, again, reach out to me via email. Ask me what's open, what seats we have available. We'll try to hook you up with the one that is easiest on your travel budget and the ability to meet quarterly with other appraisers and network, as Jim talked about. Reach out to me, the coach, at theappraisercoach.com, and we'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, good to go.